The greatest prison is not made of walls, it is built inside your mind, and Napoleon Hill shows you the way out. Have you ever wondered why, even with so much knowledge available, so many people remain trapped in patterns of fear, procrastination, and mediocrity? In Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill reveals a fictional interview with the devil himself, revealing the hidden mechanisms that prevent us from achieving success. This video is a deep dive into the provocative ideas of the book, exploring how to overcome the mental traps that keep us stagnant. Hill introduces the concept of drift, a state of mental passivity where the individual allows himself to be carried away by circumstances, without direction or defined purpose. The devil, as a metaphor for negative forces, uses drift to control the mind, keeping it occupied with distractions and unfounded fears. To escape this trap, it is essential to develop self-discipline and set clear goals, taking conscious control of our thoughts and actions. The book highlights 6 main fears that the devil uses to dominate people: fear of poverty, criticism, loss of health, loss of love, old age, and death. These fears are implanted in the human mind and cultivated through recurring negative thoughts. Hill argues that by recognizing and confronting these fears, we can neutralize their influence and regain our personal power. Self-discipline is presented as a crucial tool for resisting temptations and negative influences. Hill emphasizes that without self-discipline, it is impossible to stay focused on meaningful goals and resist distractions that take us away from the path to success. Developing positive habits and maintaining a structured routine are fundamental steps to strengthening the mind against the attacks of the devil. Another central point is the importance of cultivating a defined purpose. Hill argues that individuals with a clear purpose are less susceptible to drifting and more resilient in the face of challenges. Having a specific goal provides intrinsic motivation and guides daily decisions, creating a sense of direction that protects against the influence of destabilizing forces. Hill also criticizes the traditional education system, suggesting that it contributes to alienation by failing to encourage critical thinking and mental independence. He argues that true education should empower individuals to think for themselves, question established norms, and seek knowledge beyond conventional curricula. This approach promotes mental freedom and strengthens resistance to external manipulation. Faith, according to Hill, is a powerful force that can be cultivated to overcome obstacles and achieve extraordinary things. He shares examples of historical figures who, driven by an unshakable belief in their goals, were able to transform adversity into remarkable achievements. Developing a firm belief in oneself and one's purpose is essential to maintaining motivation and perseverance. Hill introduces the concept of hypnotic rhythm, a natural law that causes repetitive thoughts and behaviors to become ingrained habits. The devil uses this rhythm to cement negative patterns in people's minds. To break this cycle, it is necessary to replace destructive habits with constructive practices, such as meditation, uplifting reading, and actions aligned with personal goals. Mental freedom is presented as the ultimate goal, a state in which the individual assumes full responsibility for his or her life and decisions. Hill emphasizes that achieving this freedom requires courage to face fears, discipline to maintain focus, and determination to follow a defined purpose. By achieving mental freedom, we become immune to the devil's manipulations and able to live in accordance with our values and aspirations. In short, Outwitting the Devil is an invitation to introspection and conscious action. Hill challenges us to identify the internal and external forces that limit us and to take deliberate steps to overcome them. By applying the principles discussed, we can transform our lives, break out of self-destructive patterns, and achieve a state of personal fulfillment and true freedom. Controlling your mind is the first step to transforming your reality. Napoleon Hill shows us that the mind is like a garden. If you don't cultivate it with constructive thoughts, the weeds of fear, doubt, and procrastination take over. To master your mind, you must first develop a full awareness of the types of thoughts you are feeding yourself every day. This requires constant vigilance and a willingness to replace negative thoughts with positive affirmations and empowering visions. By practicing self-observation, you begin to notice destructive patterns, and it is at this point that you have the power to choose a new thought, a new direction, a new frequency. The secret to mental transformation begins with repetition. Hill talks about hypnotic rhythm as a force that automates everything we repeat consistently, whether positive or negative. So if you want to change your life, you must change your daily mental habits. This means starting your day with powerful visualizations, statements of purpose, and affirmations of faith in yourself. The mind, when trained with discipline, becomes a tool for intentional creation. This is how you stop reacting to the external world and start shaping it from the inside out. Transformation happens when you take the wheel of your mind and stop living on autopilot. Another powerful point is to protect your mind from negative external influences. Hill warns that the devil feeds on distractions, chaos, and content that lowers our vibrational state. Therefore, to control your mind, you need to be selective about what you consume: news, social media, conversations, and environments. All of these impact your frequency and shape your thoughts. The tip is simple, but powerful: start consuming only that which raises your vibration, which inspires you to act, which connects you with your purpose. The mind is moldable, but whoever you let mold it defines your destiny. Don't hand your mind over on a silver platter. Take control. And finally, the key to true change lies in creative imagination. Hill states that anything that a human being is capable of imagining with clarity and faith, he or she is capable of achieving. But to do so, you need to feed your mind with detailed visions of where you want to go. Visualize every day, with emotion, with enthusiasm, with anticipatory gratitude. Feel the future as if it were already your present. By doing this, you change your mental vibration and align yourself with what you want to manifest. The universe responds to the dominant frequency of your mind. If you change your thoughts, you change your emotions. If you change your emotions, you change your actions. And if you change your actions, you change your life. Once you start to control your mind and cultivate conscious thoughts, you will inevitably be faced with the question, where am I going? And this is exactly where the power of definite purpose comes in, the core of all real and lasting transformation. Napoleon Hill states that a mind without purpose is like a ship adrift, vulnerable to any current, storm, or external influence. But a mind guided by definite purpose becomes unshakable. When you choose a clear, specific, and meaningful goal, your mind begins to operate like a radar, picking up opportunities, ideas, and paths that were previously invisible. Everything begins to align because you are now transmitting a powerful, targeted, and unmistakable mental frequency. Definite purpose is the fuel that eliminates procrastination, that breaks inertia, that silences fear. It is what lifts you up on difficult days and keeps you going when circumstances seem contrary. But be careful, this purpose cannot be vague like, I want to be happy, or I want to be rich. It needs to be specific, measurable, and, above all, emotionally connected to your soul. Hill teaches that when your purpose is clear, faith grows. And when faith grows, obstacles diminish. The universe responds to clarity with movement. And it is this clarity that transforms desires into decisions, dreams into plans, and plans into reality. And perhaps the most surprising aspect of a defined purpose is the domino effect it has on every area of your life. When you align your mind with a clear mission, your decisions become easier, your actions more coherent, and even your physical energy is renewed. You begin to say no to what distracts you and yes to what drives you. Relationships change, habits change, and even the way you view challenges changes. A defined purpose gives you direction, strength, and identity. It transforms you from a spectator of life to a protagonist of your destiny. And when that happens, no matter what the devil tries, you have already outsmarted him. Once your defined purpose is clear and your mind is aligned with this mission, two pillars become absolutely indispensable to traverse the path of transformation: discipline and persistence. Without them, even the brightest dream fades away when faced with the first obstacles. Napoleon Hill is emphatic in stating that the difference between those who succeed and those who fail is almost always the willingness to continue even when motivation disappears. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early, studying, working, taking action, even when no one is watching. It's this silent, daily repetition that builds extraordinary results over time. The mind, trained with discipline, learns to serve the conscious will, and not momentary impulses. Persistence, in turn, is the shield against giving up. Hill reveals that the devil will always try to convince you to stop when things don't go as expected. And that's when the weakest give up, but the determined move forward. Persistence is not blind stubbornness, it is active faith, the courage to keep adapting your strategy until you win. Every no you receive, every failure, every difficulty, is just a necessary step towards achievement. Those who have a defined purpose and constant discipline understand that failures are not signs of defeat, but rather tests of worthiness. The universe asks, do you really want this? And your answer should be to keep going. It is important to remember that discipline and persistence are not natural talents, they are daily decisions. They are mental muscles that you strengthen with each choice. And the more you practice, the stronger you become. Before long, you will realize that what once required effort becomes part of who you are. The disciplined and persistent person does not depend on luck, because they build their own destiny with their own hands. This is the true freedom that Napoleon Hill offers us, the ability to shape our lives through intentional effort. When these two pillars come together with a defined purpose, you become unstoppable, a human being who not only dreams of change, but manifests it. True education goes far beyond diplomas and certificates. For Napoleon Hill, the knowledge that truly transforms is that which you apply strategically to evolve your mind and your life. It is self-knowledge, the ability to observe yourself lucidly, identify limiting beliefs and replace them with ideas aligned with what you want to build. When you educate yourself internally, you begin to realize how your thoughts create your reality, every day, silently. The way you think about money, success, abundance, and worthiness directly determines what you attract and what you repel. Thoughts of scarcity create blocks. Thoughts of prosperity create fluidity. The mind, when illuminated by directed knowledge, becomes a divine tool of manifestation. Hill shows us that poverty is not just a financial condition, but a mindset. And in the same way, wealth also begins in the mind. The correct thought is the one that vibrates at the frequency of I can, I deserve, I am ready. This is not just empty positive thinking, it is an internal alignment between what you feel, believe, and declare to the universe. When you dedicate yourself to reprogramming your mind through study, conscious reading, and constant self-analysis, you begin to unlock areas of your life that have been stagnant for years. The secret is to nourish your mind with grand ideas, with stories of overcoming, with spiritual and practical principles that affirm, abundance is your natural state. Self-knowledge, combined with conscious education, gives you the power to choose what to believe. And it is this choice that determines your destiny. You can choose to live trapped in inherited beliefs of scarcity, or you can choose to educate yourself mentally every day to create a new reality of prosperity. Hill teaches that the man who dominates his thoughts, dominates his life. And this begins when you decide to be the architect of your inner world. When you educate your mind to think with clarity, abundance, courage, and faith, the external world shapes itself as a reflection of this vibration. You don't need to change the world, you need to change the way you think. And when that happens, the world responds with open doors, clear paths, and miracles disguised as opportunities. Fear paralyzes. It creates stories in your mind, convincing you that it's not the right time, that you're not capable, that things will go wrong. And when you believe these stories, your life comes to a standstill. Dreams slowly die, energy fades, and all that's left is a silent void, suffocated by what-ifs. Napoleon Hill teaches us that fear only has power when you allow it to occupy the throne of your mind. And the only real way to defeat it is not by waiting for it to go away. It's by taking action. Action is the most powerful antidote to fear. When you take a step, even if you're shaking, even if you're doubting, fear begins to lose its power. Because you're telling the universe, I choose movement, not the invisible prison of stagnation. How many times have you caught yourself saying, one day I will, and that day never comes? The truth is that while you wait for the courage to act, it is action that builds courage. It is the act of getting out of bed earlier, of saying no to what weakens you, of starting that project, of changing that situation that consumes you. Most people live a life they hate, in a job that drains them, in a relationship that destroys them, trapped in the fear of the unknown. But what is on the other side of fear is freedom. It is the life you deserve to live. It is the purpose that is silently calling you every day. And you will only access it when you say, enough. I will act now. You don't need to know all the steps. You just need to take the first one. Expecting perfection is just another excuse created by fear disguised as prudence. While you wait for security, life is passing you by. And do you know what the biggest regret of those who are at the end of their lives is? It's not what they did, it's what they didn't do. It's not having taken risks, not having fought, not having lived your own truth. And if today, at this very moment, you feel this tightness in your chest, this restlessness that tells you that you need to change, listen. This is your soul crying out for transformation. Don't ignore it. Don't be silent. This pain you feel now is not the end. It's the beginning. The pain of stagnation is real. It slowly eats away at you, silently. You feel like you're being left behind, that the years are passing by and your life isn't moving forward. But understand one thing, you're not stuck because you're weak, you're stuck because you haven't decided to act yet. And when you make that decision, everything changes. Doors that seemed locked start to open. The right people show up. Ideas emerge. Fear disappears. Because life responds to movement. You are stronger than you imagine, and your future depends on your action today. Not tomorrow. Not when everything is perfect. But now. You deserve an extraordinary life. You deserve to live with purpose, with passion, with freedom. But no one is going to come and save you. This change starts with you. And all you have to do is take action, even when you're afraid. Because that's how winners are born. Not because they're smarter, richer, or luckier, but because they decide to take action while everyone else is still paralyzed. This is your time. This is your chance. The universe just needs a true yes from you, and it will do the rest. But the first step is yours. We've reached the end of this powerful journey through Napoleon Hill's teachings in Outwitting the Devil, but in truth, this is just the beginning. The beginning of a new consciousness, a new mindset, a new life. Now that you understand that fear is an imposter, that the mind can be trained like a creative machine, that purpose is your map and discipline is the bridge, there's only one thing left: your decision. The decision not to go back to the old version of yourself. The decision to be bigger than the system that pushes you toward mediocrity. To be stronger than the habit of procrastination. You have this power, and it begins the moment you say, "Enough. I choose my transformation." If something that was said here touched your heart, then write in the comments, "I free myself from this prison." Share your vision, your pain, or your turning point. Your writing may turn on the light in someone else who needs it. And if you feel that this type of content awakens something in you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you will never hear just words, you will find a mirror of your soul and a path to your rebirth. Change begins when you allow knowledge to become action. And today, you have everything you need to get started. The greatest prison is not made of walls, it is built inside your mind, and Napoleon Hill shows you the way out.